Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne, America's #1 Take Action Success Coach and strategist, empowering, educating, inspiring, and igniting people like you to take action with Jet Propulsion. We assist people to find and embrace their life purpose, live their highest vision, become the best version of themselves or the next best version of themselves, forging a strong foundation to soar to success. And find more information about how to work with me and my team, visit us at ldcstrategies.com. In the meantime, our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to, of course, empower minds, educate hearts, inspire action, and ignite success. What do I mean by that? What I mean is we're introducing you to amazing humans doing amazing things that might interest you to have a fulfilled, healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life yourself that you have always wanted and dreamed. So join us today. I hope you're having a great day. We are going to light you up with verbal caffeine, with all kinds of possibilities today on our show with our guest and my friend, Michael Kline. He is an amazing human being. We call him the Enoughness guy. Michael appeared to be the very model of success to everyone around him, and he is. He was the turnaround president of a franchise company with 35 locations, doing 175 million annually. He left corporate world, as most of us do, and moved to the mountains where he opened a series of small businesses and dove into community involvement. Still, Mike never felt he was good enough. And after 50 years of overcoming obstacles to create successes in work, marriage, health, and happiness, nothing was enough. So trying everything from mindset work to meditation, breath work, psychedelics, and regenerating images in memory, which is called RIM, he dissolved his old stuck emotions and uncovered his natural enoughness. He is a 6-time successful entrepreneur, the senior trainer at the RIM Institute, a transformational retreat leader, a retreat center owner, a TEDx speaker, and is known as, I said, the Enoughness guy. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you. Thanks, Lorianne.
So excited.
So excited. The energy, I just have to tell you this, is what I was feeling while you were doing your own introduction to yourself and your coaching work. I felt myself just, my excitement rising. I remember the day I met you, however many years ago that was. I remember it was at a training event, and your enthusiasm. It's like, I feel it. All right, I can go home now. I'm all motivated. Or I'm all back in my energy of let's go, let's do something exciting. Let's step into some action. It's inspiring to feel your energy. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. I felt the same way when I met you. I was like, I need to know who this guy is, because he is amazing. And you have this energy and people just gravitate you. It's like you're a magnet for humans, good humans.
Well,
and
how
so
perceptive of you to notice. And another amazing thing about me is
I love that. And it's true. It's very true. I am so proud of you. Congratulations on your TEDx talk. Amazing. Amazing. And the topic was, wait, the enoughness, being enough, right?
Well, yeah, because I spent literally 50 years. I was 50 years old when I went to my first event where I met, oh my gosh, I met Dr. Deb Sandella, the founder of RIM, the creator of RIM, and Jack Canfield, and all in the same place, and on the same day even. And
how is that possible? You look like 35 years old. Stop it.
I know, yeah, because good clean living.
There you go.
And that's my story. And so I realized that how stuck I was. I didn't, if you started talking to me about what I needed, I would have denied it. I said, no, I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah. And boy, everything just opened up, like a big floodgates opened one day at this event. And I said, what is going on here? And why do I feel the way I feel? And I had so learned how to manage my insecurities and my feeling of lack that I just kept forging through and doing more. And I kept thinking, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And there's nothing, the rest of it's just what's true. There's nothing I can do about it. You can't change your past. You can't change who you are, or what's happened. So just keep forging ahead, do more, open another store, do another something, say something impressive to other people. And I was not able to take compliments or to accept love and support from people. And I didn't think I was worthy of really like, well, I guess of just receiving and knowing that I'm lovable
Yeah.
and that I'm enough for existing. All those things, if you had talked to me about it, I would have looked at you like you had two heads. What are you talking about? I'm fine. We'll just go do more. And
Right.
so, God, how life has changed and gotten so much richer.
Yeah.
Just to be immersed in this work. And like I joke about when I said how perceptive of you to notice, because that was a technique that I know you've learned as well.
Yeah.
Um, that in the beginning, it started off feeling like, well, this is just for fun. We'll go ahead and play this game. And now yeah, it's just real.
Well,
And it
that at
holds true
that
for
point,
everyone.
it was acting as if, right? So
Yes,
we were
exactly.
acting as if we were accepting
Yeah,
the compliment because we didn't know how to accept compliments because we weren't comfortable sitting in them.
right.
And that made us comfortable because it was a joke between everybody, right? So then you felt a little bit more comfortable. And the more you did it, the more you started actually believing it.
That's
What
right.
I refer to in my former PR world was you started believing your press. And you were just like, yeah, I am. You know what? I am. And what those people are saying, and it's okay for me to be okay with it. Because we're told, especially women, but I know you were as well, we're told be humble, don't brag,
Oh,
don't do that's not what it is.
right.
It's just understanding who you are and that you are enough and life happens, right? So we were created, we come in with everything, right? All our success codes, as I say, are already in us when we come in. We just are told to look outside of ourselves for that validation when we all we have to do is look inside.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about what you said in your TEDx talk, although I really encourage you, and the link is with this episode below, for you to go listen to it because it's just so inspiring. So you have to
Mm.
listen to the whole TEDx talk, but let's give them the shortened version.
Hmm. Well, the problem is that we could easily spend our entire life building the case that we are enough. Everything we do, we're trying to earn this. We're trying to earn something to deserve. Surely we deserve better than this, or what do we have to do to earn the love, the respect, the recognition, the something?
What's that
Building the
definition?
case, yeah. But you don't build enoughness. You just
Right,
uncover it because you were created with it.
right.
And so that is the point. There are lots of stories in the talk that demonstrate this, and I will share some of the things that I've done to get there.
Yeah,
And I'll say right now, I don't think I say this in the talk, but I'll share with you now that I know I'm not fully there. I've been expanding in the months since the talk. What does this really mean? And do people really want to talk about, if you don't feel enough, are you ready to admit that you have enoughness issues? I would not have 10 years ago said that I don't feel like I'm ever enough. I was too busy trying to prove that I was enough. I was
yeah,
building when you're actively trying to build the case that you're enough, you may not want to say, oh, this resonates. I never feel like I'm enough. I thought, well, from a business perspective, how do you position that? It's like, well, I work with people who are very successful, but don't always feel that way.
yeah,
And I don't know if we're ready to admit it or not. And then I thought, at some level, maybe we never get to, as human beings, fully feel enoughness until we are totally evolved. When we can, from a spiritual perspective, maybe it's when we fully own our enoughness is to be one with all. It's to, let go of all of the duality. I have become a fully evolved human. I no longer need any of the human experience. I think I have to die or come close to it to get there. I'm not there.
right.
As long as we have so at that extreme end of the spectrum, I would say the lack of enoughness comes from this illusion that we are separate from God, right? And
Yes,
now for our atheist friends and our separation from the quantum field or from the universe, any separation from all that is means we're not enough because we're not all that is.
right.
So that's painful. I think that's what being a human is. And so at that one end of the spectrum, we could get really philosophical about that. I don't sit high enough in consciousness to be other than philosophical about it.
Right,
I know
right.
I'm not there. At the other end of the spectrum, it's like there's this really almost shameful, apathetic, sad existence of no one in my family is supposed to amount to anything. I'm never going to be enough. Being told as a child, because I was born in a junkyard, you can take the boy out of the junkyard, but you can't take the junkyard out of the boy. I'm junk at the other end of the spectrum.
So
And
not true.
the reality is most of us live somewhere in the middle. But we can spend if we start close to the bottom, we claw and try to prove and prove all the evidence with education and certifications
But
and
doesn't it all
trainings.
come back to awareness? And then awareness gives you the option of choices, and the choices allow you to choose something different?
Yes. How do we get to the awareness of what's really going on?
Yeah, yeah. And I
That's
think
the
that's
big
where we
question.
have to uncover um, looking at our past, because we're cellularly carrying all of our history, right?
Hmm.
Ours, my grandmother's, my mother's, my
Yep.
great grandmother's. I'm carrying everybody's stuff from the past, and I need to go back and find it out. Matter of fact, when I did a RIM session with you, you brought me back to 21 months, and that was life changing to me. Didn't even, I knew the story, but I never connected the dots. I knew my mom had lost my younger sister. I knew that, somehow it had to affect me. I knew my mom was mourning while I was 21 months old, going, pick me up, right? But in the meantime, what I didn't know and discovered recently was my father lost his father. I lost my grandfather the same year.
Really? Wow.
So my father was mourning, my mother was mourning, and there I was going, hello. But when you brought me back there and I had that interaction, right? I was able to forgive, I was able to understand. And by that awareness, it exploded me. It changed me like almost instantaneously, because now I understood why, and now I had different choices. It's like, oh, I'm not faulty. I'm not the junkyard, right? I am okay. I just see, okay, this makes sense. Now I can make other choices and also not use it as an excuse. Because you know me, I'm all about justifiable excuses. I'm really good at it, right? But we don't want to live in justifiable excuses. We want to be present. And being present, I just came back from a trip from Italy and it was fabulous, right? But I want to be that 5-year-old that I was in Italy. Like everything was beautiful. The
Mm.
flowers were brighter, the scents were bigger, the food tasted great. Everything was just stunning. And then when I came home, I was like, wait a minute, it's gorgeous here too. So I still had that lens on, and my commitment to myself is to try to have that lens every day, which is just meaning being present and recognizing gorgeous
That's
in
right.
front of us, while we're embedded with it. So how do people go through that? How do people
Mm.
find their enoughness? How do they start that process, Michael, if they have that desire to do that?
Mm. So there's several ways to step into this, and I'll share with you and your listeners later a starter place. In fact, we've created a new gift that we're going to be offering called the Starter Kit, the Path to Enoughness Starter Kit. Because where do you begin? That's such a great question. And so some of it is intellectual and some of it's emotional. So that starter kit is the easy place to go into the shallow end of the pool and let's with our waders on and let's just play a little bit too. And we talk about awareness and we talk about our role in this and our responsibility in this and all of that. So we'll make that an offer as a free thing just to go play.
Oh,
And it's not, you're not immediately going to get harassed. You're not going to get instant messages from me and light up your phone with nonsense. I'm not going to do that to anybody. So we'll make that available
but
really
it
soon.
allows you to put your toe in
Yeah,
the water just to
yeah,
see how it feels.
that's right.
Yeah, I
Right.
love that. I love that.
The starter kit. But I want to get more to, I'm gonna go into the deep end of the pool right now because you
Okay.
already were playing there, right? You brought up your rim session.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, as you know, and what I want others to know is that when we talk about it, talking about it can create a perspective shift. And when you have the awareness and you have new choices, that intellectual discovery can be really valuable. And a lot of times it makes it really difficult still to change our behaviors. Because we have, in coaching parlance, we would say we have these saboteurs, these
Right.
unconscious saboteurs that are really running the show. And I say that it's old stuck emotions that are directing our current decisions, behaviors, and beliefs, and we don't know what they are often.
Right. Right.
So when we talk about it, even if we're right about and guessing what the memory or the deal is, even if we're right about it, talking about it doesn't change it. If you're right about it and you got the right thing and you talk about it, you get a perspective shift, and now it takes so much willpower to make the behavioral change. Now, I have a willpower deficiency I was born
Well,
so we could diagnose it as ADHD and all these other things. The reality is, if I had that level of discipline, it wouldn't be a problem.
but
And
I also language it a little bit of a different way is when we talk about it, we give it lift and we give it air again. So
yeah,
we lift it back up into the universe and it becomes a reality again, as opposed to something that we've released and moved on. We've moved on, so we don't. I bring it up because I want to share that with you, but it's part of the reality of
mhm,
my transformation,
right,
right? But
right.
lifting it up and talking about it just brings it back, brings it
Well,
back.
yes, I got a yes and. So I'm glad you said that, because it's the other side. We have to get to just right. Not talking about it can be dangerous even. Talking about things is helpful until it's not.
Right.
And so what I mostly focus on when I bring the RIM work in, it's we're dipping beneath the logical thinking mind, because the thinking mind doesn't have access to the data. This we know this from Daniel Kahneman's work. He wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. Won a Nobel Prize on this in behavioral economics. This is serious research and science, and we know um, why don't people do what's good for them when they know what's good for them? Why don't people do what's good for them? I mean, why do people keep doing things that are bad for them?
Yeah.
And the answer is that the logical thinking mind does not have access to the data. Totally different part of the brain, the nonverbal part of the brain where the emotional work lives. The thinking part of the brain does not have access to that. So RIM is a whole brain technique that allows us to leverage through body awareness. We dip beneath that thinking mind, and we're not annihilating it with psychedelic drugs or
Right.
chemicals or medicine. As much respect as I have for that, I've done a lot of healing work with that. I love that. Um, and I know that what we can do without any chemical influence whatsoever, other than what your own brain creates, that we can leverage body awareness to allow spontaneous imagination to bring in the core issue, whatever is present. And it's often not what the client thinks it is,
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, well, when I was a kid, and we go into our childhood story, often not the thing. It's
I
some
didn't even know
other
what my
thing.
thing was.
Yeah, you
Didn't
don't
even
know
know.
what it was.
Didn't know.
My oldest, my furthest, I don't have very many memories pre-7. And there's a story that got cut from the TEDx talk because I was fitting into 13 minutes, 2 hours of talking. And so way more stories did not make it. But one was about my earliest memory. I don't think this was so in there. Now I'm trying to remember. Did I leave it, or did I take it out? I think I took it out like the day before. Was my earliest memory I've ever gone to was pre-birth, which I previously didn't think was possible. How is that possible? Well, people say that, yeah, I don't know. But I had a journey where I went to just the knowing. It felt more like a dream than because there's no tactile pieces of this memory that I could say is a real memory. But it was such a strong knowing that it was pre-birth, that I had this feeling of being an unwanted pregnancy. So it's the memory of a feeling unwanted,
Yeah.
and had a dialogue like you do in RIM sessions often, had a dialogue with my mother and with the divine feminine, I would call it, because this, I don't know how else to describe what that might be, but it seemed like an infinite amount of feminine energy slash voices.
Yeah.
Um, but that was my experience, and I get this overwhelming infinite number of yeses, that I deserve life and love,
Oh,
which was hard for me to receive or to accept yes for an answer until I did. And then it
yeah.
was just, that was a massive turning point, a massive transformative moment for me, that had never occurred to me that that was a stuck trauma of feeling like being, imagine, we know, everyone knows, there's no question, we don't sound too woo-woo to talk about the effects of alcohol and drugs on a fetus. We know
Right.
that.
Right.
We also know that we are, as a fetus, subject to the trauma, emotional, and the stresses and the hormones in mother's body. And
Sure.
so and I can imagine the stresses of my mother's body. I was her 14th pregnancy.
Oh my
She was
goodness.
living with an abusive alcoholic husband in poverty
Oh my gosh.
who would judge her for not wanting another child. My siblings immediately came to my rescue, or, oh no, that's not possible. Mother's love is always always unconditional. I said, stop, don't talk to me. I don't want to be rescued. I don't need to be saved from this. It was a beautiful experience and a healing experience, and it was full of nothing but love.
Yeah.
And to be able to welcome sadness and grief and fear and a full spectrum of emotions is so critical. When we let go of our fear of that,
Yeah.
they flow through us and we heal from them. And that's what nobody does. We work with raw emotion to allow our bodies to digest it, to metabolize it, to let it go through us, not to avoid it. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the key. That's how we get to true awareness and allow the healing to happen naturally, so we don't have to manage it. And then we
Yeah.
uncover our enoughness.
Yes, 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 yes. And that's a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful feeling. I can't even explain it, but it's a beautiful feeling. When we come back, we're gonna take a short break. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. When we come back, I want to talk to you about your El Camino to Costa Rica 174-mile trip. That was amazing. I followed you on Facebook while you were doing it. I was exhausted for you. But I really want to talk about the experience you had and what you got out of that and why in the heck you did that in the first place. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne. If you would like to be a guest, lift up your business, product, not-for-profit, or if you have a question or comment, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. I'm always told I talk New York fast, so I have to slow that down for everybody. Anyway, we're talking to the wonderful, amazing Michael J. Kline. MichaelJKline.com is where you can reach him online. He is just totally amazing. His TED Talk link is with this episode, so please take the time to go listen to it because he is truly amazing, and I think you're going to fall in love with him like I did, like the second I met him, and I have been like just basically stalking him ever since. I mean, following him. That's what I meant. That's really what I meant. Michael, welcome back. When we laughed, I was talking to everybody and letting them know that you had this El Camino trip. It was 174-mile coast to coast, not jog, but hike.
Yeah.
Why in the world, would you do
slog,
it? Whatever it was, I don't know. It sounded painful to me, and I was just watching it. Tell me about like why you did this, the decision to do this, and what you thought the outcome was gonna be, what you were gonna get from it, gain from it, because we do things to gain things, right? And then what actually happened?
Well, I've always been intrigued by the El Camino in Europe and in Spain and from France to Portugal, and much longer hike. But I spend a lot of time, as you know, in Costa Rica. And when I heard about this El Camino de Costa Rica, I got very excited. And it's just from coast to coast. It's short. It's 174 miles. How long? I mean, you drive one side to the other in a day. How long could that be? Well, it's 16 days, 17,000 feet of linear gain and loss up and down through the mountain regions. Starting at 95 degrees and 99% humidity with no shade for the first 2 days because you start on the coast. It's very flat in the Caribbean. I thought, how hard could that be, really?
What is wrong with you, Michael?
But at first, it just sounded like a fun adventure. And I say yes, as you know, I say yes. My first response to everything is, hell yes, I'm in. That'll be fun. And I immediately, I did a share of an article about it I think from Condé Nast Traveler or some travel article about it, shared it on Facebook, had a half dozen friends respond, I'm in, when is it? Let's pick a date next year, let's go. And they all backed out because, it's almost 3 weeks. by the time travel days, 16 days of hiking, you have to go with the guide. The indigenous communities you visit, you can only go in with the guide, all these different things, and it just doesn't make sense any other way. It's not terribly expensive, but it's a long thing, a big deal. And everybody had one reason or another to not do it, except I have one friend I told about it who also is a nut job like me and says yes to everything. And so that was my friend John, who you know quite well now because of our Facebook live check-ins every so frequently on that
That's
trip.
right.
And
Which was brilliant, by the way.
oh, thank you. It was so good. It was not, we don't get what we need. We don't get what we want. We get what we need, right?
Yes,
So
indeed.
I don't know why I went. When in retrospect, I remember this conversation I was having with Sal. My husband is asking me, why are you doing this again? Because he's like instantly his first
It's like
answer
I'm
was,
out.
hell no.
Yeah.
Um, and I said, I think it goes to my need to finish something. I'm feeling drawn to taking a challenge and seeing it through because I so get excited about something and then my enthusiasm tends to wane. So I thought I need to see this through and I'm going to turn it into something, but I don't know what yet.
Yeah.
So it became the path to enoughness. It became, rather than 174 miles, it became the journey of 12 million inches. So I just did the math. Um, Taking it an inch at a time, and it became metaphors for so many things in life.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know until sometime this summer, we did this in late May. We were home in
Right.
early June sometime. And somewhere, probably by August, in conversations about it, I realized what I really got out of it. One of the big things I got out of it. First, there was a big enoughness self-confidence boost that day 3, the ultra marathon runner dropped out. It was too much.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought, oh, okay. I was kind of intimidated at first with some of the people that were, bragging about, no, I'm going to carry my whole pack every day. And it's on this trip, you only have to
Let
carry
me
a
carry
day
the
pack,
mule too while I'm at
right?
it.
But they have guides will truck ahead there are road access to all of your accommodations, all but a couple of nights. So you really only have to carry a day pack, which is significant in that heat and sun to
Yeah.
carry 4 liters of water and your snacks and a rain poncho and all those things. But you don't have to carry, a 70-pound pack. They will truck your luggage from night to night, and it'll meet up with you at the next place. And some were here to be on a fitness thing and they're serious hikers, so they'll just carry their own. Only the first day. No one did that again. you know. And I thought this is a serious physical thing to
Right.
accomplish. So I realized I was quite proud of myself for doing that. Um,
As you should be.
yes, exactly. And the 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 ruggedness of it, the connecting with how much I fell in love with staying with local families, playing with their kids, and helping making food and chopping vegetables or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
was amazing experiences that was all optional. Just getting to say yes and step into engaging with the people we
And
were
part of
playing.
a culture in immersing yourself into the
Yeah,
culture.
yeah. And so that was not really. I think there was one particular place we did that, and it's like I was the only person who did it. I just felt like I was more at home with the family that was hosting us at this place, and there was a dozen people in our group. But I just stepped in and like I felt like I was at a family reunion, but better because it wasn't mine. It was someone else's family.
Really.
But I'm always one, I would rather be in the kitchen putting it on than sitting in the living room talking, So I just did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It
Me
just felt
too. Me
natural.
too. Yeah.
I loved it. And we became Facebook friends and stay in touch with them. But I didn't connect with the group. And I know this may sound weird to you because, I love being in the front of the room and I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to be entertained. I want everyone to know how smart and or funny or something I am. I want to work for that.
Which you are across the board, intelligent, funny,
Oh,
good
thank you,
looking,
right?
handsome, engaging, all those beautiful things. Yes.
Which is what I spent 50 years, some years working for, that ranking, trying to get it because I never felt I was. And I kept trying to earn that status. And what I realized that in this trip from day one, I didn't like the group.
Oh,
I went with my brother and my good friend John. So we had the three of us joined this group of a dozen people. And nothing connected me with nothing wrong with these people. They were delightful. If I went on a trip with them next month, I think I would connect with all of them. But on that trip, I just didn't like anybody, and I didn't care. It's not that I disliked them. Some of them I
Right.
kind of I let some people annoy me, but mostly I just wasn't interested, and
Right.
I didn't understand it at the time. But what I realized that I had abandoned my, this was the practicum of what I had been feeling, but now going into the wild, connecting with a bunch of strangers, not needing to be liked is not
Needing.
an experience that I've really practiced in a new setting like this before.
Yeah.
Usually, as you know, I host a lot of retreats, but I'm
Sure.
supposed to be in the front of the room. I'm the host. They're signing up to be there with me.
Yes.
This was my first time in a long time showing up with all these strangers with zero responsibilities, just being a participant.
Yeah.
And normally I would have needed to be the funny one or the smart one or the something, be everybody's friend, make sure everybody likes me. I
Yeah.
truly didn't have any care about that in the
It's
world.
congeniality.
Yeah, right. No need. No need.
No
And so
need.
now I just feel free, so free of that. I don't need to be liked. I don't need to be any of that. I'm enough without their approval. And
Yeah.
now I feel like I can go back to neutral. I think it was an extreme other end of the spectrum. And now I've experienced that. Now I know where I live. Now I feel like what it's like to not have that need to be liked or to win anyone's approval or opinion. Who cares?
To recognize it and say, hey, this is who
Yeah.
I am, and accepting it. Isn't it amazing to me while you were saying, talking, I wrote something down. Isn't it amazing that don't we all try to fix our imperfect perfection when we just sit back? Because I did that for 10 years and lost myself. And
Hmm.
then when I went back, I want that 18-year-old girl again that was fearless, right? And
Yeah.
now and I am funny where I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just funny when I'm funny. Sometimes
Right.
I'm not. I think I'm funny, which is funny to me. Sometimes other
Right.
people don't. I don't care. You
That's
know,
right. Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm hysterical and they're looking at me like I have 12 heads and I'm like, I win.
that's right. That's right. We win. And when it doesn't matter, well, it doesn't
Doesn't.
matter. And so living that way is so freeing.
Yeah.
And to say that, and it's not an irresponsible way. We still have emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
If you piss off every prospect, you'll never have a customer, right? We
Sure.
don't want to lose our staff, our partners, the people, whatever, all of our network. We still get to even have greater emotional intelligence and even greater better choices, healthier, more useful choices with the deeper awareness
Yeah.
and with great freedom so that we don't go into fawning and to lower our boundaries to the point where we make ourselves miserable or we limit ourselves.
Yeah, I look at it like putting ourselves in levels, not better, somebody better than another, but we're in different vibrational areas.
Hmm.
And if we're up here and we try to entertain the people here, we have a propensity or tendency to do this, which means we slide
Hmm.
back down to this level. When we've evolved to this level, we will reach down and pull them up to our level, but it's not a bad thing. And you don't mean this in a bad way, nor do I. It's like we're not discounting people because both of us we love people, we love humans. I don't necessarily have to hang out with them, but I choose, and this is the difference. Again, goes back to awareness. I choose who I spend my time with, who make me better than I am, who bring me up to that next level. I want them reaching down to pull me up to that whatever that next level is.
Mhm.
And it's yummy to hang out with people who are on that same vibrational level.
Yeah.
So it's not a diss or it's not being disrespectful. It just is because
Yeah.
you're actually being who you are, which is kind of interesting. I'd love to speak to the other 12 people. Because I'd love to feel their perspective of if they were being magnetized to you again. And because it was just you were in that unaware position because it didn't matter, right? That you didn't even recognize or see that might have been that they were like looking up towards you, wanting to be more like you. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
not in a worship type of way, but
No.
I like that vibration. I
Mhm.
want what he has, kind of a thing.
Mm. Mm.
Because you
Yeah.
have this settledness about you, this knowingness about you that is just incredibly, infinitely attractive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate. I like your perspective of me anyway. I think
It's
as I
just my
listen to
honest
you,
perspective.
a couple of a couple of things I noticed during the trip. I was realizing in real time when I was thinking about what is it about this person that I don't like. And I realize now it's that wasn't it at all. It's not that I didn't like them. I did realize that each of them had a quality that I didn't I at some point did not like about myself.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy
It
who
no
was,
longer served you.
yes, there
Yeah.
was a guy who was trying so hard to be the funny one.
Yeah.
And I think what I didn't like was that, oh, I have been him, and I was disliking parts of myself that I have been that I'm not anymore,
Yeah.
and that he is there. And so now I can look at him really with a lot of love and compassion,
Yes, yes, yes.
understand, and which means I can now look at those old versions of me with love and compassion instead
Yeah.
of shame and embarrassment.
But also look at it with love and compassion, but also be proud of who you've become, that you've released that, So there's that love and compassion. It's like for
Yeah.
me in my transitions, there were people in my life who've done really not nice things to me. And I allowed it, right? But I had this different feeling about them. Now I look at them with love and compassion and gratefulness that
Mm.
I went through that to become the human I am today. Because I wouldn't be who I am today had
Right,
I not had those experiences,
right,
good, bad, and ugly,
right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
So I
that's our
try.
reality to get us to where we are now, to be able to open up and realize that we are enough and that
Mhm.
there is enoughness and go through that transformation. And that's what you bring to the table that I want to talk more about is you went through a process, and I've been watching you go through the process discovering this and being able to articulate it, and now being able to teach it to other people so that they can actually have the starter kit and tools and go to master classes so that they can choose to find their enoughness.
Yeah,
It's there. They just have to recognize
yeah,
it, right? And
yeah.
maybe perhaps without all the bumps that you and I took.
Well, yeah. If we can save someone some bumps, that's the goal here, right? And I would say that it isn't just teaching about it. Here's the thing: what I really
But you can't
want.
really teach it, can you, though?
No.
Yeah.
Well, we can teach about it, and then that has value. And the most valuable thing um, is the experience of this somatic experience
Yeah.
of actually, yes, changing your emotional past. That is critical. Not understanding your emotional past. That's nice, just doesn't change anything.
Right.
And so talking about it doesn't change it.
Right.
Sometimes it can even make it worse. And so when we dip into the stuck emotions in the body, have the somatic experience of releasing that, now it's different. Now it's different. That's really critical. And so that's why what we do is so very, very different. That when we feel different, our nervous system responds differently. We are no longer triggered by those things. We no longer have the stuck emotions running the show. We have new, different stuck emotions running because that we're still human. They're just much better, higher vibrating emotions running the show.
And
And
don't
we
you
have,
notice them? Don't you
yeah,
recognize them faster now?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's a level of awareness. So that allows us to make quicker choices.
yeah.
So I used to say that it used to take me 2 months, then it took me,
That's right.
4 weeks, and then it took me 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and now I can notice them. And for the most part, I can
Mhm.
switch on a dime.
Like when we talk about having a well is when we have the awareness, now we have choice. It's like we'll make
Yes.
better choice, but we talk about it, but how you do it, how do you change it? It's like, is it Viktor Frankl is like between the stimulus and a response there's a space.
Yes.
Lovely to know that, but that space is only this big.
Right.
How do you make more space? And I used to
Right.
think that meditation was the best way to make that space. um not terribly effective for me over a long period of time to get there. And I think it's very effective for some people. I think that's great, whatever works. What I have found is going to the stimulus is we'll call that the trigger, right? Or the activator, or this between there's a stimulus and then we have our response. It could be an instant reaction, and that's not often the best thing. So how
Right.
do we make the space so we can choose a better response? Well, once we are the trigger is not so triggering because we've found the unconscious stuck thing that's getting poked at and dissolved it so it's no longer an instant trauma response, that our body doesn't instantly respond before we can even think, because that's what bodies do.
Yeah.
And so when it's no longer a trauma being triggered, it's not a felt experience in the body anymore.
Yeah.
Now we have that space.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Now we
why
can notice it.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt. And that's why I say it starts with awareness. We're all talk about awareness, awareness,
Yeah,
awareness. What does that mean? Our minds can't tell the difference between a bear running at us 10 years ago and a bear running at us
that's
today.
right.
So our mind doesn't understand trauma happened 20 years ago and not today.
That's right.
It just automatically goes into, hey, I know this is not good and I've experienced this
Yeah.
before and this is what my reaction is
Right.
going to be.
But it's
So,
not the mind. Hang on, because it's not the mind. The
okay,
body responds to the fear like it's real, but it
right,
responds a nanosecond before the mind responds, right? The vagal nerve is more responsive. Your thinking mind
right,
doesn't have access to this yet. By
right.
the time it has access, you've already responded. So there is no gap between there's no gap to think of a different response to choose yet.
So that's the
Right?
gap you're talking about that
That's the gap.
we
Yeah.
need to get into that crevice before it
Right. Well,
responds.
we need the nervous system to feel safe so that it isn't responding before the mind even gets the data.
Yeah.
So how do
Yeah.
you get the nervous system to feel safe enough to give you access to that gap, that
Gotcha.
space to choose a response? That's what we need to do.
And that
This
goes
will change everything.
back to the rim, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you say something that I think is beautiful. You said pura vida, data is useless. Life won't be rushed or slowed. You can flow or fight it.
Yeah.
I
Life,
love
that's right. Like Pure Vida is this expression that
down in
everyone
Costa Rica.
says it in Costa Rica. They say, well, it means kind of aloha. It means hakuna matata. It means hello and goodbye. It means whatever. It means hang loose. A lot of people think it means that, that everything is frustrating and nothing works the way you want it to. And this is where we make easy hard. And I learned that it is more about being in flow and allowing what is, and it's more about a high level of acceptance that nature is nature. I mean, I was, the day I stopped to pee on the side of the trail and found my legs being covered with man-eating ants up to my knees. And before I knew it, it's like, okay, I'm in nature. Happens. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and you're not going to change it. Um, the weather is going to be the weather, right? And you're not going to predict it. One day we're over here in the hot sun, and the next day we're in a cloud forest, hiking for 2 days in a cloud forest. It's going to rain and pour, and then it's going to not, and so you're not going to have any influence on any of this,
Right.
right?
But
You
you
can
have
either be in
influence
flow
on
with it,
loving
or you can
yourself.
be in fight with it.
But you have influence on loving yourself, and that's where we have to start.
Yeah,
Loving
absolutely.
ourselves. That's if everybody started there,
Yeah,
life would be entirely different. Entirely
that's
different.
right.
It's just really important. I know we're doing a retreat. I actually have the QR code for our YouTube watchers
I'm so
um,
excited about
up
that.
here. We're doing this retreat in Costa Rica. We invite you to come down there to really understand a lot of this, go through it, enjoy it, feel it. It's for business people as well, and it's not scary. It's absolutely a lovely place. It's
Oh, I
gorgeous.
can make parts of it scary.
Yeah, well, you do. It's scary sometimes, Michael.
I would only
Uh,
bring up the things that you're scared of that you really are done being scared of. That's what we're gonna take the scary things and make them not scary. So we're gonna
yeah,
let them come and go.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
because
we
you
need
can
to.
handle scary. Scary never killed anybody, right? So we can welcome the scary because in business, every business owner I've worked with has been scared of something or
Yeah,
had an unconscious saboteur, and it's always an emotional root. And that's what shifted me from business development into emotional processing. It was
yeah,
they came together one day. So for
yeah.
all those
No, it's
reasons,
beautiful.
that's why I love
So much
calling.
more to talk to you about. So much more to do with you. Totally amazing. Your starter kit, your 5 steps. I think that is beautiful. 5 step to enoughness. They can visit you at michaeljkline.com right now, right? Also the link to the free 5 steps to enoughness, so that you can put your toe in will be with this episode. So I enjoy that. Anything else you want to tell them to take action? Because I want them to take action want you all to take action by doing those 5 steps. I promise you,
Yeah.
you will love it. You will absolutely love it. It will change your life. It will put you on a different course. I know it's changed my life just having you in mind. So I'm so grateful
Oh,
for you,
thank you.
Michael.
Same. Yeah. It's fantastic. Thank you, Lori.
Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I think that just that's the perfect place. That's why we created it. The path to enoughness 5 step starter kit. Start there, and then you'll find other ways we'll connect to come play together. Yeah, because you are
Beautiful.
enough. That's the key. You are enough. You already are. You always have been.
Yeah, perfectly imperfect, and imperfect means I'm perfect anyway. So, hey, we win. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I hope we've earned the privilege of your time. Again, I want to say thank you to our guest today, Michael Kline. Unbelievable human. You just have to meet him and hang out with him. He's so cool. I know, I love it. Look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. always on JVC Broadcasting and iHeartRadio. And we also can be found on all major platforms. And be so grateful if you please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And if you want, please take a moment and join our Take Action community, where you will interact with like-minded individuals and have access to tools, giveaways, challenges, and other yummies that you know I love to give. Until next time, I am Coach Lorianne. Let your dreams be bigger than your fears, and let your life be filled with joy. Have a great week. See you next Saturday. Take care. Thanks, Michael.